Hello, how are you? This is Axe Sketchbook by Jill Mockingbird. That's me. During the quarantine, I put together my sketches and I haven't stopped. I have a few left. Um, so yesterday we talked about Paul going to Jerusalem. Timothy and Erasmus went to Macedonia, but Paul stayed a little bit. I'll stay a little while longer in the province of Asia. There was a great commotion about the way, and Demetrius, the silversmith for Diana, or I think that would be Artemis, talked to the craftsmen, and other silversmiths and workers in related trades and said, hey, our trade will lose its good name because of Paul. You know, my friends, that we receive a good income from this business, and you see and hear how this fellow Paul has convinced and led astray large numbers of people here in Ephesus. He says that gods made by human hands are no gods at all. There is danger not only that our trade will lose its good name, but also that the temple of the great goddess Artemis will be discredited. It's all about money, eh? Diana may be despised, our goddess Artemis. So they started yelling. When they heard this, they were furious and began shouting, great is Artemis of the Ephesians! Great is Artemis of the Ephesians! Soon the whole city was in an uproar. The people seized Gaius and Aristarchus, Paul's traveling companions from Macedonia, and all of them rushed together into the theater. So I don't know if that was all pillars or what kind of theater that was. In the confusion, they seized Gaius, friend of Paul, and Aristarchus, friend of Paul. I should go to the Greek church and ask, how do you pronounce all these names? Paul wanted to appear before the crowd, but the disciples wouldn't let him. I must go, Paul, but the disciples said, no, stay. Even some of the officials of the province, friends of Paul, sent him a message begging him not to venture into the theater, because probably he would be killed or beaten. Horrible things. We don't want you to. We beg you not to go in the theater, says officials. Friends. So it was chaos at the theater. Some people were shouting one thing, some were shouting another one. Most people did not know why they were there. Isn't that how crowds can get? Why are we here? What's going on? So Alexander stood. The Jews in the crowd pushed Alexander up to the front. Hey now. So, and they shouted instructions to him. He motioned for them to silence. He motioned for silence in order to make a defense before the people. But when they realized he was a Jew, they all shouted in unison for 2 hours. So maybe they're anti-Semitic. They just don't like Jews. You're a Jew, great is Diana of Ephesus, shouting for 2 hours. So, great is Diana of Ephesus, great is Diana of Ephesus. That would drive me crazy. So the city clerk quieted the crowd and said, fellow Ephesians, you have brought these men here, though they have neither robbed temples nor blasphemed our goddess. If there is anything further you want to bring up, it must be settled in a legal assembly meeting. As it is, we are in danger of being charged with rioting because of what happened today. In that case, we would not be able to account for this commotion since there is no reason for it. Quiet, this is dismissed. This is crazy. Knock it off. When the uproar had ended, Paul sent for the disciples and after encouraging them, said goodbye and set out for Macedonia. At the end of the uproar, Paul said, come here, disciples, I'm going to Macedonia. Goodbye. He encouraged them with many words. And. His words were probably like, you can do it. You're strong. Go with Jesus. He traveled through that area, speaking many words of encouragement to the people. That should be a lesson. What are some, for any children, what are some words of encouragement we could say? And he finally arrived in Greece, where he stayed for 3 months. Paul, 1 to 3 months, he stayed for 3 months in Greece. He went through Macedonia, gave words of encouragement to the people. Encouragement, and then arrived in Greece. Because some Jews had plotted against him just as he was about to sail for Syria, he decided to go back through Macedonia. So he's going to Syria. God closed that door. Sometimes we say God opens a door, God closes the door. Paul goes to Syria. The Jews plotted against him, so he decided to go back through Macedonia. Do you ever travel like that? One place is closed, so you go another place. He was accompanied by Sopater, son of Pyrrhus from Bahia. I'm going to go to the Greek church and ask about these names. He was accompanied. Those who went with him were Aristarchus, Secunda, Sopater from Thessalonica, Gaius from Derbe, Timothy, Tychicus, and Trophimus from the province of Asia. These men went on ahead and waited for us at Troas, but we sailed from Philippi after the festival of unleavened bread, and 5 days later joined the others at Troas, where we stayed 7 days. After this feast, we sailed from Philippi. 5 days later, Paul joined others at Troas and stayed for 7 days. So this is an important story. I'll go ahead and read it, but I also have it earlier in a separate video, which I think has gotten my most views of a Bible story. Acts 27. On the first day of the week, we came together to break bread. Paul spoke to the people, and because he intended to leave the next day, kept on talking until midnight. Monday, first day of the week, Paul spoke to midnight, 12 a.m. till midnight. They were breaking bread. There were many lamps in the upstairs room where we were meeting. I wonder if that affected this guy Eutychus. Seated in a window was a young man named Eutychus who was sinking into a deep sleep as Paul talked on and on. When he was sound asleep, he fell to the ground from the 3rd story and was picked up dead. So Eutychus has fallen asleep while Paul's talking and was thought to be dead. Paul went down, Acts 20:10. Paul went down, threw himself on the young man, and put his arms around him. "Don't be alarmed," he said. "He's alive." Then he went upstairs again and broke bread and ate. After talking until midnight, he left. Talk. Paul broke bread and talked till daybreak. Goodbye. The people took the young man home alive and were greatly comforted. Eutychus is alive. Yay. So I think if you search for Eutychus on my Paul and Eutychus, maybe on my YouTube channel, you'll find it. And it got my most views for a Bible story. So tomorrow we will read Acts 20 and all the different places Paul went. And what are all the different places God has taken you? Talk to you later.